Okay, so I think maganda yung discussion natin eh. We were able to really identify what's happening now in Davao, ano yung mga opportunities na nakita ng mga investors natin. I guess our listeners also would want to understand ano naman yung mga nakikita kaya na challenges natin ngayon, especially with everything that's happening recently. Stephanie and Robbi, ano ba yung nakita ninyo ng mga challenges na hinarap ng ating mga investors at this time?
For me naman, I think there are a lot of clients, especially OFWs, who want to invest their money in real estate. However, some are hesitant simply because they're not around to take care of their properties. Oftentimes, these investors are limited to investing in areas kung saan their family members are located, just so they can have someone who can look after and manage their properties. Yung ibang clients naman, they may be in the area, but they don't really have the time to manage their properties on a regular basis, especially if they're going for a short term or daily leasing. Something as simple as handing over the keys to the tenants can be a real problem, and we even experienced that because last year, prior to COVID, no, we were always traveling to Manila. So every month we would go to Manila and we would choose to lease out condos instead of hotels kasi mas gusto namin yung parang may kitchenette siya and it also feels a lot more homey. But yun nga lang eh, even that simple process of handing over the keys, it can become a problem for us. For example, there was this one time we were coming from the airport and we were supposed to meet the owner in San Juan. Kaya lang, before that, we had a meeting in Makati. Kaya lang yung meeting namin, it extended longer than what we had expected. So yung owner ended up waiting for us for an hour. So sobrang nahiya ako sa kanya kasi hindi naman kasi namin pwede makat short yung meeting namin. So kawawa naman siya because he also came all the way from I think Rizal. So ang layo din ng travel niya and he had to wait for us. And at the same time when we had to check out, may meeting naman kami ulit. So parang it was very inconvenient for that owner to have to wait for us and for us naman yung tenant parang nakakahiya din. So it seems like such a small problem, no, just handing over the keys, pero it's a real issue.
I agree. I think that's really a big hassle. I can only imagine kasi kung magta-travel pa siya all the way from Rizal. I used to live in Rizal and I understand yung
Ang
traffic
layo,
dun eh.
'di ba? Ang layo.
Sobra. Oh. Well, I guess in reaction to that and in anticipation of those things, pretty much dalawang bagay ang masashare ko eh, related dyan sa sinabi mong kwento, Stephanie. Eh. First of all, kasi sabi mo, there are clients na they don't have the time to manage the business on their own, di ba? Maaring hindi sila marunong pati to manage it. Plus the fact na kailangan mo physically ibigay yung susi. Dalawang bagay yan eh. For two to Peaklane, first of all, may technology tayo na in-introduce that will help that. Una yung digital LOCKSET. Imaginein mo na you don't need to physically turn over the key of the unit to the client. All you need to do is just send a text message kung ano yung numeric password na sinet mo in the LOCKSET and that eliminates the need to physically turn over the key. And this is done through a mobile application. You know, if you're within Bluetooth range of the LOCKSET, you can set a numerical password. You can identify kung anong day, anong time siya mag-activate at mag-expire and just send it. And pretty much the client can go ahead and go and access the unit right away kasi they already have that password and you've already set it to be active on that particular day and time.
Parang I love that feature. Kasi ano eh, yun nga, it's a big problem. So, it's so much more convenient if ganun. Like, you can just have a password for the lock set. I love that.
Sobra talaga siyang convenient. To even add more value dun sa concern na sinabi mo, no? In Peaklane Serviced Residences, our West Tower, we actually even incorporated a service, a leasing program. Kasi kanina you mentioned na mga OFWs, di ba, they don't have time, perhaps they don't even have the expertise to manage yung paupahan. So we even incorporated a leasing program wherein may operator who will take care of everything for you. So it takes away the hassle, finding a guest, setting the documentation, collection of payment, maintenance even. of your unit, that's all taken care of through the leasing program. So the operator will take care of everything for you. You just really just wait until it's time for you to get your earnings through the leasing program.
That's a big help, ha? Because yun nga, I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of clients who have the money to invest, kaya lang they don't have the time to take care of their unit. So just to have someone who can take care of your unit, who can clean up your unit, who can also handle collections, that's a big deal. Kasi yun nga that's the reason why we invest, right? We want to have our money work for us. So instead of investing our own time on having to manage our property, I think it's great that you have that property management system.
Precisely. And again, I think this is really for the West Tower, a perfect blend of property technology as well as services that really give that additional value na hinahanap ng ating mga investors. How about you, Robby? Ano naman yung mga challenges na nakita mo?
Well, on my end, one of the biggest challenges is as an investor is the connectivity. So we increasingly are living busier lives. We want to make money, we want to invest our money, but we're a bit more engaged when it comes to leading our lives, no? So madami na tayong pinagkakaabalahan ngayon. Gusto natin mag-invest pero not all the time we can just focus on one thing. We have to balance our hectic schedules with for our family, for our work. Tapos yung iba may mga side businesses pa and all that. So that's why I think as an investor and by function kasi if you're an investor that means you're already very in tune with the concept of making money no. So hahanap ka talaga ng investments diyan. So because of that, I think one of the biggest things that an investor needs is connectivity. That's something that at the very least in our company, no, that's something we have increasingly emphasized is the ability for our investors to connect to their investments, and I think that's going to be very important for all investment outlets, even property developers that offer investments such as these. I think it's important to allow your investors to see exactly how their investments are doing, no, and to be able to connect, to be able to access the internet, to be able to do all of those things in a quick amount of time. I think that's something that's very important in this day and age.
Sa palagay ko, with what happened this year, talagang na-emphasize yung importance ng connectivity, no?
Yes.
Sobra talaga siyang relevant now. And the technology is there, diba? Especially nga with how technology has evolved these days. It's really a matter lang of finding the technology that will suit that purpose sa sinabi mo. And that's something that nakita din natin as very relevant, that matter about connectivity. That's why the project Go to Peaklane, both the East Tower and the West Tower, incorporates the technology that will keep you connected. Diba, right now, the most reliable form of internet connection is fiber optic. So that's also something that we put as a feature na technological advancement into Peaklane, that the units are fiber optic ready, given again the target market that we're looking into. You have students, you have businessmen, and they really need to stay connected all the time. So these guests would really appreciate having that type of connection. Plus, syempre, research also says na properties that have fiber optic connection command better rates and better values out there in the market. So this is an additional bonus also for investors. Plus the fact, as an investor, syempre, I also, like what you said, want to stay connected with my investment. We incorporated another technology. This is going, I guess, away from the traditional property management. You do this face to face. This time, we have an online property management system wherein unit owners can just simply go online when they're registered through the mobile application as a unit owner, and then they can communicate with the property management from there. Tatanggap nila mga bulletins, mga advisories, even yung kanilang bills that they need to settle, that can all be done online na. So again, we're maximizing the technology features here, that you have fiber optics And with that, you can stay connected with your property all throughout wherever you are, even outside of the Philippines, like sinabi ni Stephanie kanina, mga OFWs, through the online property management system, you'll be aware of what's happening in your property.
Ang ganda nga
Gusto
nung
ko
ang ganda nung
yan.
point niyo, sir. Ang ganda talaga nung point niyo na nakaka-increase siya ng value. Kasi totoo 'yun eh. That's something that investors do consider. They want an investment that is more likely to increase in value in the future. And when you can command better rates because of the facilities in your investment, I think that speaks to the attractiveness of that particular investment. No? Especially now, internet is indeed very important, whether pamilya yung nagta-travel or business person yung nagta-travel. The need to stay connected to the internet is there. So having a space that
Super
caters to that
important yung
particular.
internet ngayon eh.
Oo, 'di ba? Parang
Kahit
ano siya eh.
saan.
Yes,
Because
yes.
especially with the whole work from home setup, right? So I think a lot of
Mhm.
companies are also adapting na yung mga systems nila are all digital now, all online. So if someone's going to lease out the unit, for sure, they would probably want to have good internet connection, for sure. Because they're
Yeah.
probably
Precisely.
working there as well. Kahit yung mga
Yes.
students, they're doing a lot of research online. Super malaki na benefit yan. Kasi ang hirap naman when you're staying at a place tapos mahina yung connection. I think we
Yes.
can all relate.
Tama, tama.
Yeah. Oo. Tsaka consideration na talaga siya. Kumbaga dati, if you're traveling somewhere, your consideration might only be the location, stuff like that. Now, the consideration is it has to have a good location, but it also has to have good internet.
Yes.
Depende na lang pagka walang internet or pag hindi matino yung internet doon, magde-data na lang ako. So no, we really need to have proper internet na, and it's good na at least you mentioned, Sir Arwin, no, that it's fiber optic ready because iba na talaga yung needs ngayon kasi more on videos na yung kailangan ng tao. So higher connection talaga yung kailangan.
When we go to Manila, like when we stay at one place, we check the internet. And if it's not good, hindi na kami mag-book dyan ulit. Pero kung maganda yung internet, we would always like book there again because we know na it's reliable yung internet. You don't have to go out. You don't have to like go to a coffee shop just to get some data, di ba? So
Tama,
I think it's a
tama.
really, really good feature to have.
Mhm.
Yung fiber optic ready siya. Earlier, nag-mention si Robbi, right, about connectivity. So, na-appreciate kong yung word na yan because of the pandemic, parang it became obvious to all of us na how important it is to be really connected. And yun nga when we're talking about the pandemic, it brought up a lot of needs that we didn't have before. For example, people are very particular now when they're staying at a place. If the place is sanitized, if the place is clean, if the air that they're breathing is clean. So, 'di ba? I mean, suddenly what we're experiencing now has brought up some key points that we have to think about when we're purchasing a property.
I think that's a very practical concern nowadays, eh, no? Especially nga yung ngayon with these health-related concerns. Talagang that's a very practical na need at concern ng mga clients. The good thing about it lang, as a company, Anchorland has a vision that really helped to anticipate itong health issues na to. We actually pioneered a building technology that we call the air therapy system. It's a ductless system that has multiple uses. What it does is first it sanitizes and purifies the air in your bathroom. At the same time, it also makes sure na it provides ventilation. Pero the difference is ano siya, ductless. Di ba ang usual dyan yung ducted na ng mga ventilation system, di ba may piping yan, and that of course entails cost and maintenance pag nagtagal. So with it being ductless, it helps to minimize again yung cost of maintaining an exhaust system, a ventilation system. And then finally, one of its practical uses it provides illumination. So imaginein mo, it's a lighting system in your bathroom, while at the same time, it performs to also give you ventilation, and then it also sterilizes and purifies the air in your bathroom. So it also gives you that added security as far as yung mga health concern na lumalabas these days. So this is something na pioneer ni Anchorland, and we're also pioneering it dito sa Davao. So we will actually be the first property to have itong ganitong klaseng system as a feature of the project.
Oh, that's
So I think that's
interesting.
I think that's very important, sir, no? Kasi especially in the case here in Davao, we really serve as the hub for Mindanao, and so we get tourists from all over the Philippines. So it's not just tourists from Manila, but actually tourists then from outside Davao, from within Mindanao. And they are also very much concerned about these things. No, they are very particular. They are very specific in the features and in the way that they want to be able to be treated when they go to Davao, because they see Davao as sort of the Metro Manila of Mindanao. Eh. So they
Mhm.
expect
Tama.
good features. Some of them even travel to Davao on weekends just to be able to go to our malls, because kumbaga ganun yung prestige ng Davao in their minds. So I think when you put up a property that has these features, tapos you are able to communicate very well to guests and to investors these features properly, um it can become a landmark. It can become a
Mhm.
landmark site for Davao. Parang kumbaga it's something that uy, we have to try that out. We have to check that place out kasi it offers a good location. Tapos when you reiterate all of these features, these advanced features, it's going to make it very attractive, no? So immediately from an investor perspective, you have an investment that is already able to set itself apart from the others. That's good, you know. Personally, that's good for me. That's a huge selling point for me, and I'm sure the same can be said for other investors. No, na parang, uy, this is something that's going to stand on its own. It's not. It's above the others right now. So it's something that should stand the test of time very well, and that's what I look for in my investments.
Speaking of
Yeah.
landmarks nga, Robby, Anchorland is known to actually build landmark projects. So we've established ourselves in Binondo, we've established ourselves in the Rojas Boulevard area, as well as the Bay City. And this is going to be, like what you said, another landmark, this time in Davao City.
Yeah, and whenever I also talk to my clients, whenever I advise them about the condos that they're purchasing, I always reiterate with them to choose a unit that has light and ventilation. Like that's the biggest things that you can always look at when you're investing in a condo. Light and ventilation talaga, that's very important. So I like that you have that air therapy system.
And again, just to reiterate, all of these come already delivered in the unit, whether you are buying from the East Tower or the Toto Peaklane Park Suites or the service residences, the West Tower. Plus the fact na the unit is already fully furnished. So just imagine when you receive your unit, nakaset up na siya, the space is already configured, it already has all of the necessary na laman dapat ng isang unit to be fit as a unit to be rented out. Plus these technologies in place that will really help to drive efficiency of your rental operation. So that way, syempre, sustainable na yung location mo because it draws the market, and then it helps to drive the efficiency of your rental operation. Mas makakatipid ka on both spending for your capital as well as yung operational expenses mo will also be lessened because of all of these things that come with the units.
Oh, na-mention ko before, I think I commented on that na it's so important na the unit is already business ready. Kasi there's a lot of condos for sale, right? But most of them are not furnished. So yung mga clients ko, especially those who are not in the Philippines, para they have to look for interior designer, they have to look for a contractor just to have those amenities na furnished na siya para they can lease it out. But added gastos yan eh. It's additional cost for them. Additional effort also. Tapos yung mga contractor, hindi naman sila yung magpa-purchase ng mga refrigerator, yung mga appliances. So what's gonna happen? They're gonna have to look for someone who's gonna do that for them. So I like how it's business ready.
At this point, we already have a good understanding of how 202 Peaklane Serviced Residences addresses the common concerns of investors through property technology, its rental-ready features, and the leasing program. Stay tuned for part 3, where our experts will discuss the protected passive income features of 202 Peaklane Serviced Residences through its leasing program. This is the Anchorland Podcast, Real Estate Conversations.